Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to D&T's Lemonade, where we will serve you the bitter and the sweet. On topics about relationships, the church, family, hot topics, and world news. Remember, when life gives you lemons, just make
Make
lemonade.
lemonade.
Amen. So I'm sorry to say amen.
Go
Sorry, y'all.
ahead.
But I want to say that today is going to be very good. We're going to discuss a couple of topics here that hopefully will bless someone or help someone with their marriage. And just tune in and feel free. By the way, by the end of this video, if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can see and leave some comments, so we can know other topics or things we need to work on. So we don't mind that. So go right ahead. Without further ado, by the way, my name is Dana Bradford, and this is Tammy Bradford. D&T is Dana and Tammy Lemonade. So go ahead, honey.
Today's topic is going to be 5 things to refresh and reconnect in your marriage.
All right. So I came up with this topic because I know that being married now we're going on 28 years, it's important that we sometimes when life hits us and certain things happen after the kids, after, jobs, working businesses, whatever the case may be, we tend to sometimes, not that we forget each other, but we got to learn how to reconnect as if we had just met for the very first time. So there's 5 things that I told my wife we should discuss and talk about.
Yeah.
And the first thing is what?
Oh, and this is not an exhaustive list.
Oh yes, just short.
A couple of things we thought of.
Go ahead.
So that first one was focus on things you like about your spouse. We already know that you love them. But this is to maintain a friendship. So think about what you like about them, because sometimes love means most of the time for people it's care. You're caring for everything, the family, but you don't want to get to the point where you don't like your spouse. So you got to focus on things you like about your spouse.
Yeah, she said sometimes we get up I'm just gonna be honest with you, we get on each other's nerves sometimes because we think we know or a person should know better than. But some things we do, it seems like we get up on each other's skin sometimes, and the person who's close to you, been around you most, know how to push your buttons, right? So she said no lie, because we don't do. It's the truth. So, but even through all that, when I look at my wife, I see a friend, and sometimes you may not see a friend, but you got to remind yourself. That's what I told her, that it's important that we got to make sure we maintain. See them, you like them, as a friend first, So. And then the next one, you got anything else you want to say about that, huh?
No, that was good.
Okay. The next one, and this ain't always easy, but you have to do this to make sure you maintain your marriage relationship, is forgive and forget easily. Easily. I can't stress that enough, because we can hold on to grudges, y'all. And I'm not a grudge holder, and I don't think I don't know if I don't know if she can hold grudges and hold back some things. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, listen, because like women we have the memory of an elephant.
Yeah.
Forgiving and forgetting easily is I think it's something that we hold on to, but I think y'all don't hold grudges like some men do hold a lot of grudges, so we can't be general with it. But they say women have a memory like elephants. But I think that's because society tells us that you can forgive and you can forget. You can forget it if you make up your mind that you're going to forget it.
That's right.
And you're going to control your thoughts. Just forget it.
Now, I will say, there's apologies needed though.
Oh, yes.
On certain things. You know how we mess up, man.
That's
and sometimes,
yes.
We'll do stuff, and then you got to apologize for what you done, because you may not meant no harm, but it harmed them. You offended them. So you gotta say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't know. We got to smooth these things over so you won't look at me all side-eyed and, certain stuff and give me a certain look or even a certain attitude because of my reactions, So that's important, because that's how you help them forget also easily too. So.
Oh, yes. Sincere apology. Because I don't know if men have this problem, but women, we don't just want you to apologize. Men are like, oh yeah, I'm apologizing real easy. Apologizing for what?
They want to know.
For what?
Yeah.
What is it that you did? Because they want to solve the problem really quick.
Yeah, we're problem solvers real fast.
Because if you don't say what you're apologizing for, you're likely to do it again.
Yeah,
That's what we think.
And you're right. And we'll make light of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not good to make light. What I mean is we got to really know what we did and really be sincere, like you said, with it. Because we'll make light and be like, oh, it wasn't that serious. You know, you undermine what they said that basically that was important to them. And you got to help them to easily forget by saying, you know what, I understand how I did this to you. You know, please forgive me for what I did. And, you know, I didn't know. That's important. So that definitely helps them not to hold a grudge.
Yeah. You know, so. And when, you know, if you are a healthy person, if a person does apologize to you and your spouse does apologize, you got to forget it. You have to forgive and forget it because it'll only make the next moment even worse. After you forgive, you say you forgive. Next thing you know, you're bringing it back up again, and that's not forgetting. You know, and you can forget. You can forget. You can make yourself say, "No, I'm not going to think about it. Nope, I'm turning that off. It's not important."
Yep. So you go to the next one.
The next one is think about how you think about them, because negative words, if you think something in your thoughts that are negative, you're most likely to speak negatively. And the reason why I brought this up was because, you know, in our minds, you got to think about how you're thinking about your spouse. I think this one is more geared to us as women. I'm almost going to bank on, we have to make sure that we aren't thinking, oh, well, he doesn't do as much as me, so, you know, before you know it, the enemy will have you thinking like, oh, he's lazy. He don't do this, he don't do that. Look at all I'm doing. You have to think about how you're thinking, because most likely you are going to say something out your mouth that says, oh, you're not doing this today? Okay. And then you already got an attitude, and he's like, oh, I feel all that. So I'm not going to approach her today because she, you know, but you can reconnect by thinking about how you think, because if you think good thoughts, then you're going to start seeing nice things, and they're going to start the reconnection.
Yep, just said the reconnection. Said think good thoughts. Now, when she said good thoughts, now you gotta, no matter if you man or woman, you gotta think true things. Now, don't start making up stuff. Okay, it'd be like, oh, he my Adonis and all this stuff. You know, he's a god. He's the, you know, don't go over the top with it. Just find some truthful stuff about the person, and don't paint this picture, because see, that picture gonna fade. So you got to make sure you say stuff true to them. Don't just fill their head up, because people pick up on that too. They ain't stupid. Your spouse is not stupid. They know when you fluffing, okay, or lying, okay. Hopefully you're not lying. You shouldn't be lying anyway. But what I'm saying is, make sure that you're true to you and to, you know, your spouse, and tell them the things that you really like about them. Yeah,
and correct your thoughts.
That's right.
If you need to correct them. There is a scripture that says, casting down imaginations and everything that exalts itself above the knowledge of God. And you can speak those things that be not as though they were. Even if your spouse isn't the way you want them to be, when you control your thoughts and you cast down those imaginative thoughts, they're going to help you to not make illustrations that aren't true. So you will be able to control them, and you know, I think it's really important. It's very healthy for your thought life towards your spouse, because the longer you've been married, the more things you think you know about the person, the more you get really set in your mind. Oh, he always do this. Oh, she always did this.
Yeah, that's negative.
And they, you know, and next thing you know, I know he's not going. I know he gonna always say no to this. You know, no, my spouse is not. Well, let's say. Don't tell the truth. No. You really got to control your thoughts, and you have to think nothing but good thoughts, especially when you want to be, you know, you want to turn things around. You want to turn like a lot of negativity, resentment. Say like you've been fussing all week long. This is where you're gonna reconnect. Fix them thoughts up. You be like, because it's easy for you to be bitter. It's easy for you to be tit for tat in this moment. But just like we meet people that we meet, some of you on your jobs, you're meeting all these people. You don't even like your boss. But you know, in order to deal with your boss, you fix up your thoughts, you put a smile on your face, you can do the same.
Because you know he paid. They paid.
Exactly.
So you know, like you said, you get a paycheck, but guess what? You know that paycheck don't outweigh your relationship. You know, so you got to have the same, if not more, respect for your own relationship as you married than you do with anything else. You know, because you got to know that negativity, man. You know, she said a whole week. Now you don't want to wait too long. Now, you know, also too, you got to hurry up and speedily. Yeah. You know, forgive and forget.
But some people don't realize they're in a
Go ahead.
They're in like that. They before they know it, they're back and forth all week long.
Oh yeah.
And then
Go
they
by
catch
fast.
themselves like, hold on, we've been fighting all week.
They need that remembrance. Yeah.
And you need to yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You know, you got to make sure, like I was saying, you just don't wait too long.
And we're not talking about fighting like
Oh yeah, she want to clarify. I got you. Oh,
that's terrible.
That's terrible. Yeah.
But we're talking about just little things that you do. It's the little things
like the war words.
Yeah.
The war words,
or the little bitty, the little bitter things. All that stuff adds up. You know, and you try to make it small, but that stuff becomes big.
That's right. It does. It becomes big. Definitely.
Because you can switch it up by thinking about how you think.
That's right.
About
you got to change that mindset, man. Because you know, as you go, they go too. Relationship is, whereas two is really, you know, it takes two to argue. It takes two to have a spat or a miscommunication. So you got to make sure you fix that together. You know. So yeah, you got to fix that. You got to stay positive. You know. So the next one, and then I put this one here. Don't see them as work as a task.
Or a task.
I put that on there because sometimes when you with your spouse, they may look at you, and I ain't saying my wife does. They look at you like, man, you are work. You know what I mean? You work when I see you because I know you're gonna want something from me, or the case is, and that's work. And I'm already doing enough, you know. So that's probably why, you know, sometimes women or men can say that vice versa. You know, they can say, well, man, I look at you as work. When I get with you, I'm already doing this. Now it's work. I got to deal with you too. Then you want something from me.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's like, that's not good to think that way because that's negative too. Because then you're not going to find joy. You see, in relationship and marriage, you got to have a joy to be together. This joy is to come together to have that. See, you can't look at a person and be like, well, guess what? When I see you, all I see is work. Don't say that to the person. And you shouldn't even think that is totally terrible, y'all. Okay? We got to do better. Okay? All right? And that's the bitter part, but the sweet part is if you learn how to come together, it's like a harmony and a peace that happens. And see, that whole household will be set that way. You see, you don't want to bring that chaos and ruckus in and say, well, when I see you, I see work. Then guess what? You already got kids. You know they work. Okay? All right? Then you got to do your spouse who's work too? Nah, you don't want to see it like that. You know?
Yeah, because you get wore out.
Yep.
And we understand we're in the thick of life. The thick of most marriages is going to include children.
Yep.
Draining you. And I don't mean this negatively, but like, you know, everyone is asking something from you.
That's right.
Even, you know, you running you're running your business, you're working a job. You're doing all these things. Everyone is demanding something from you from the time you wake up until you see your spouse. And it's easy to see that person as another list because you continue. You don't live on vacation. You live in this world and cycle of like doing this, doing that, trying to do this, trying to meet this goal, doing this, all these things constantly. So you can become mentally drained, and then you begin to see your spouse as a work or task. But it can be like that sometimes and that's only human. So that's why we talk about how it is something to refresh and reconnect you when it comes to your spouse. Try not to see them as a task.
Yep. And these things, by the way, guys, as long as the thing is, it can reconnect you, but there's a disconnect when you don't do these things. See, there's a disconnect when you don't think about these things. And we got one more. I'm gonna let her cover this because she put this one on here. Go ahead.
It's a great segue for the next, the last tip. Because when you're seeing them as seeing, you know, your spouse as a task, you're not willing to be as intimate with them as you would be because you're worn out. Now, I'm not talking about not only physical intimacy. I am talking about all kinds of intimacy. Like for some people, for mostly for women, my husband and I were talking about this earlier, that intimacy for women is mostly emotional. And then it becomes physical.
That's right.
But for men, it could be mostly physical, you know, and then maybe it'll become emotional. I don't know, but it's, you know, so those are two different types of intimacies. You have to make both of them a high priority and not just an afterthought, you know, and it could be a struggle for a man to be like, oh God, I got to go through all this listening to her. That's because she needs an emotional tank full. And we need this hefty, we need a hefty cinch sack bag. You know, we need a hefty amount of listening. You listening to me, you hearing me, you playing back what I said, not everything, but showing me that you are fully engaged.
Could you imagine that if we was emotionally empty as a man, and you couldn't even talk to us because we'd be the same way like you are. I think God made us a little different for a reason, so we can take on and manage those things even with our spouse, with you know, the woman we with, to be able to be intimate enough to be able to listen and to take it in. And then, you know, sometimes they may be looking for answers. Maybe you can give them an answer. Maybe they just want you to listen. I do know this. Most times, like she said, most time a woman, you know, my wife, I can only speak of my wife, she only wants you to listen. And then sometimes she asks a question, she wants to answer. Most times she wants to listen, and that begins to build up. Also with that, on a broader scale, it begins to build up even trust too. You know, so, but as far as the intimacy part, it helps lead that direction and steer that. Me as a man, on the other hand, it's very important for me, to also, you know, feel that form of intimacy from my wife, to make sure that she cares about the stuff I care about. Yeah. She cares about me enough to know that, you know, whatever I have, what I need. That's right. Yeah. And also to listen. Also, you know, it goes both ways. You know, so because you know, some fellas, you know, men would be like, oh, I don't care if she listens. I'm just gonna say it anyway. I don't know if I can't deal like that. What I'm saying is, I don't have that. I don't have that problem with my wife. I'm just saying because sometimes I think we try to paint these pictures as if it's perfect. So that's why we give you these topics of these things, you know, that we do go over here at D&T Lemonade, because I see that a lot of folks out here hurting. Yeah. And a lot of times they don't know why, because they're not connected to each other. They have lost the connection, and there's no power in it because they have said a while back, checked off something and said, well, we don't need to do them things no more because this is what I'm doing now. This is more important. Yeah. Our priorities have changed now. Yeah. So sometimes you got to get back to those priorities. You know, you got to connect back to what made you guys, you know, hold the glue together, hold the relationship together. Yeah. You know, so that's why we discuss these things, you know, because intimacy, all those before those things lead up to that, you know, if you do it the right way. Now, there could be some other points, too, that you guys may want to share or have comments about to add in there, and we're open to that. But we just the five that we came up with, you know. So, you got anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah. And, you know, if we don't make intimacy, as far as the women, if we don't make it a high priority, then like I see that even there's a scripture that says that if you delay intimacy, then you can cause a lack of self-control from your spouse. So if we set you up to without what you need, we set you up to have lack of self-control. We can't be surprised if, you know, something happens. Now, I know that, you know, it's not, you know, an indictment to blame someone, but we have to be very careful that we don't set a stumbling block in front of people.
That's right.
But intimacy comes in so many forms, in so many ways. There are some people that, you know, really it boils down to letting a person know that you see their need. You identify their need and you are there to meet their need in any way that you possibly can within reason, or like your ability to be there, or your ability, or physical. Sometimes, what if physically someone's sick or something, then but identifying that need. And there's so many ways to be intimate. That's why that, adding on to that was the do things out of the norm.
Do things out of the norm. That's right. Yeah. Got to mix it up sometimes. Yeah. Keep it fresh. Keep that connection going. Because the truth of the matter, we're human, and some stuff does become kind of mundane. And I'm okay with the mundane as long as you show me love, and still too, if it's the same thing, and I can identify that you're trying.
Now that's the statement of someone. That's the statement of a mature man. And what I found is that a lot of men and a lot of women are not mature. You have to be mature enough to fess up to when you deny the intimacy, whatever level it may be.
That's right.
And you have to be man enough to fess up and say, I understand what's going on. And I know that that's not probable right now because of the situation. But as long as you show me that you understand it,
that's right,
and that you're gonna be Johnny on the spot when it's time, to
right,
and even in between, in the by and by, you're not ignoring it.
That's right.
And sometimes it can boil down to how you treat a person.
That's right.
If you can't do anything, when you treat somebody sweet, and we all can learn to be a little bit sweeter.
That's right.
Especially, we're not talking about the people that's been married 2 weeks.
Yes,
or
it's a
2
difference.
months, or 2 years, 5 years, still in the honeymoon phase. I hope you're in the honeymoon phase. If you're not, then you might be in a little bit of trouble. But, we're talking about the people that's been together for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
Reconnecting, being sweet to each other.
And sometimes you got to just get away.
Oh, yeah.
Change the whole atmosphere.
I know. Yes.
Get you out of that comfort zone. Change the whole atmosphere, and take the time out for you and your spouse. Get away from all distractions. That's part of big time intimacy also.
Because you being together, it brings so much more to everyone else in your life. When they see you healthy,
that's right,
they see that your connection is strong, it builds such peace,
that's right,
in your children.
There you go. She talked about that. She said the children. Yeah, that's important.
And that's important. That is the way God intended.
That's right. Well, you got anything else you want to say, honey?
No.
Can we close the video out?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this topic here. And the topic was what again, honey?
5 things to refresh and reconnect in your marriage.
Once again, like I said earlier, before we started today's podcast, please make sure you subscribe, or you at least view it, and put in some comments that it was a thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll take it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. We can accept the bitter, and we can accept the sweet too. So,
and please add more.
Add more. That's right.
Because the list is so much more.
Yes,
and
it was.
Y'all people that have been really great in your marriages, these young people need it.
They need it more
really
than anything. Yeah, exactly. So
they don't have what we.
They don't have what we got. That's right. And you got to share what you got, so hopefully they can make it over too. And every day we still learning though. By the way, 28 years. We still learn each other. Yes. Now of course, we know each other a lot more, but it took a while to get there. That's our point, So so the next time we're gonna close this video out. Thank you once again for tuning in to D&T's Lemonade. And remember, when life gives you lemons, what?
Make lemonade.
Make lemonade. Bye bye, y'all.